Maybe he can pull the upset. Let's find out in the bottom right of Acropolis for map number 1 of the winners match. It's Pezz.
Yeah. And then it's up left here in the blue from Legacy ANZ. This is Probe. This is the guy. It's our guy. It's our region's most consistent, strongest player. And he keeps getting overseas these WCS gigs. He makes mad bank playing StarCraft 2. And he's a very nice gentleman. And also really young. Like, quite a few years ahead of him if he wants to commit to this game.
Yes. He's a very skilled one. That's for sure. And he's got a good record. Had a lot of good results in his time.
Yep. He had we keep talking about some of his best results ever. They've been a little few and far between, but he had a very good showing at Spring. Not so great at Summer, but at Spring he managed to get some pretty big PvZ scalps, defeated Harstam and Namjar, and apparently legit games. Well, small asterisk, mostly legit. Apparently one of them was a Cameron Rush. And then, of course, nearly eliminating Neeb from Valencia in the year of Neeb. So 2017 was the year where Neeb won 3 WCSs, and he was the strongest player from WCS. It was before the age of Serral. And Valencia was actually the one event that Neeb did not win. Laser won that one. But getting to Game 5 against a kid that was that monstrous, very impressive stuff for Probe, and certainly won him a lot of fans.
Yeah, that's when I think he really put himself on the map internationally. And, we're not trying to take away from Pezz at all. He's a great player. But if you look at the history between these two when they meet, they played in the WCS spring against each other, and Probe took Pezz out 3-1. And, they've faced off in the Cyber Gamer a few times as well, and I believe that Probe's come out on top each time. That's not to say that Pezz has never taken maps off Probe. It certainly happens. But Probe seems to have his number. And, when you consider that he goes toe-to-toe with guys like Neeb, who are widely regarded as some of the best foreigner players, you can see where our reasoning comes from.
Indeed. We're seeing a weird pylon down here to the bottom side of the map from Pezz. Haven't seen any structures down there just yet. He's hiding probes as well. Probe's going to catch this one, though, with that probe as he heads towards that sort of third area expansion. Like, he's not going to expand here with that probe. He's sending it out for potentially a proxy, but also scouting information. And, Pezz just rolling up into that ramp to get a little bit of a look here. Would love to get that pylon up, and he does. All right.
Yeah. Probe's just going to have to turn around and poke that one down with extra stalkers. A couple of Adept Shades coming in. Yeah,
that's the...
And lets itself in.
Unless you have like millisecond perfect reaction time, you can't actually, react quick enough to get on top of that cancelled pylon, so the Adepts are always going to get in. Thankfully for Probe, though, these 4 Stalkers actually are gunning down those Adepts really nicely, and he took very little damage from Pezz's Adept run by. Normally, 2 Adepts in a mineral line is 4 Probes at least.
Yeah, so he's still got a very slight probe lead. He's also put a block here at the natural so that if Pezz wanted to drop a Nexus, well, guess what? He's just going to have to wait.
Just going to have to. Also, I think Pezz is fully walled off in the main. So he's going to have to kill one of these pylons to get out. Yeah, there he goes. Pew pews.
And so Probe's opted for the Stargate here. He's getting Phoenixes out. Pezz, on the other hand, heading into Robo and Twilight Tech. So this is going to give Probe a bit of an easier time in scouting, at least until Pezz can, I say that and he gets straight into the main. Doesn't make it all the way in, but it
does commit.
Yeah, a bit easier once you get maybe your own air unit of some sort out on the map to scout. Otherwise, you're relying on those pokes at the front door to see what's going on, or maybe something like a Warprism.
Certainly a bit of a tough call. So we're seeing some tier 2 options unlock here for Pezz. He's been making them all a little bit quicker, and he's got that Twilight Council kicking into gear for him. There's nothing yet for Probe. He's got that Stargate, so not nothing. He's got a Stargate, but no Robo and no Twilight Council, which I consider both scarier in this matchup. So there is definitely an edge for Pezz in that regard. But let's see how much these Phoenixes can get done. Yeah. 2 probes. As long as they stay alive, they're always going to be a threat here to Pezz.
Yeah, exactly. Certainly should be able to pick off another worker here and there. Pezz is going to be mindful of where those units are at. You know, he's keeping those stalkers in the main base to hopefully minimize any damage those can do. Probe similarly covering his own mineral lines just in case he's got a shield battery in the main base. He's going to continue floating around with these phoenixes, picking off workers, and keeping an eye on what Pezz is actually making.
What possible reason could you have for a Void Ray here? I guess, you know, a Void Ray can actually chase down and kill a Prism, kind of. But Void Rays... It's almost like Probe feels like he's about to be attacked. It's just such an expensive unit that's very, like, weird. And, like, there's not too much utility for Void Ray in this matchup, or most matchups, actually.
Well, because, like, Glaives are finishing up, he can see that Immortals are being produced here as well, and he just dives in to get a full scout off on that main base. You know, his ground force is definitely going to be inferior to this, so you probably want that extra bit of damage. Phoenixes, yeah, you can lift and poke things down, but, you know, Void Rays give you that extra bit of security when it comes to handling those ground units. So as he moves out here, Probe preparing with 3 extra shield batteries.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Void Rays and shield batteries together are not bloody bad. They do live for quite a while. I mean, I'm kind of with you, Zeph. That does make a bit more sense. Like, I guess because he doesn't actually have a big ground army, he doesn't have Twilight Council upgrades, and he doesn't have much robotic units. The Void Rays are kind of his only way to keep consistent damage to the ground. And, of course, can go for that Prism, and the Phoenix is getting right on that. They target it down, and down it goes. So no more jumping for Pezz. Those shield batteries offering a lot of defender's advantage here for Probe. That one Immortal for Probe really putting in a lot of attack damage on the front side. It actually gets micro to safety. And Probe holds on here.
It looks like there was a lot left there for Pezz for a second, but without the Warp Prism and only a bunch of sentries, if you get what units, that's it. Probe takes game number 1 with a very nice defense.
Clean as a whistle. Good stuff from Probe. It's the guy we know and love.
Yeah.
Cool, clean, calculated.
Yeah. Cool attack from Pezz as well. But yeah, I feel like against Stargate, you know, that's kind of like your ideal scenario, though, isn't it? Because if you're making Immortals, your opponent has Phoenixes, you know they're going to try and lift those, so they're not a factor. And, you know, adding those Void Rays in really helped as well. He only needed a couple of force fields, really, to segment Pezz's army. So, yeah, very calm, methodical defense from Probe, and he'll take the first map.
He did a really good job. Very good defense. He read Pezz very well. And the Void Rays actually ended up being a really good call. You know, that's not a unit you see too often in this matchup, but the right call from Probe. And that's what StarCraft's all about, making snap decisions and making hopefully the correct decision based off what you see within, you know, milliseconds. And that was the deal on that one. Nicely done. Yeah. I am impressed, as I often am when I watch Probe play StarCraft 2. Yeah,
Void Rays are always nice in a pinch. Do a lot of damage. You can keep them out of the way decently. Especially when your opponent's army doesn't really shoot up. I don't really count sentry DPS.
Yeah, it was like 5 sentries or something and a few stalkers. So yeah, it's like not that many, all things considered.
Alrighty, well, Cyber Forest is going to be map number 2 here.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, in the bottom right. And the purple needs a win here to keep his winner's match hopes alive. It's Pezz.
Can't believe the purple player is losing, Zeph. It doesn't make any sense to me. In the top left here in the inferior color blue, Legacy ANZ's Probe on match point.
I must admit I am partial to blue too, though.
Blue's quite good. It's a top tier color. It's not absolute top tier, but it's up there.
It's top 3 for me, for sure.
Actually, at the moment, I have my structures set as purple with the purple console that has an arcade stick in it. The glowing purple arcade console. And I'm enjoying the overabundance of the most regal color available to mankind.
Nice.
Ooh. Is there a mothership core floating across the map right now?
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. I don't know why that came to my mind. I was just like, ooh, an overcharge pylon. God, that unit can just stay in the unmarked grave that it's in right now. Buried it in the desert, man, in a shallow pit. No one cares, no one visits, no one knows where it's buried, and no one wants to ever find it ever again. No one wants to pay respects to the corpse of that unit. Jesus. Very units belong in Warcraft 3, not in StarCraft 2, ladies and gentlemen.
Goodness. Yeah, he's trying to get a response out of Probe there, and Probe kind of just ignored it. Pezz just went, all right, cancel, move on with my day. And he's actually walled off with his first 3 structures at the natural base here on Cyber Forest.
Yeah, that actually does look like a full wall off, doesn't it? Weird that, I mean, you can rally units from outside. And as we can see, Probe's like, huh, all right, well. Guess
like
you've walled yourself in.
Yeah, you can see like the where the nexus is supposed to go from there too. So it's not like he can pretend that he's expanding when he's not or anything. He's actually filling up with Robo and a couple of adepts here. So
well, the Robo is important because he'll need the prism to get stuff out of his natural.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, those 2 gateways and that cyber core are very important. Definitely don't want to have to kill any of those.
No. Good kill on that probe too, because he stops him before he actually sees what tech that Probe's chosen for himself. And these shades, I don't think they'll get quite deep enough to see much more than that either, but he still decides to go for the ramp block.
Dude, remember when the shade actually had the same vision of the actual unit?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Talk about it.
This is dark time.
Spent too much money on therapy. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess you can scout for free. That's nice.
Loved.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So we do have the Adepts and Stalkers of Pezz trying to do like a little bit of pressure on Probe, but it feels like a little bit of a stretch to see him doing crazy damage here. A very common thing in PvP is just have a couple of Adepts hanging around near the natural ramp, and just every now and then you just check your opponent, like you're just like, okay, Shades, go now. And then you're just like, is he looking? Is he looking? Then you're like, he's looking. All right, we'll try again in a few seconds.
This is a pretty safe opening from Probe, though. Getting the Stalkers, he's got a Sentry in the mix, and he's also got himself a shield battery there. So he's going to have vision. He's already got the Hallucination Scout, but he can fly in with this Oracle, keep that alive, tag these units, because Pezz actually continued to warp in on the front lines here. So Probe cancelling that Nexus on the low ground.
Oh, oopsie daisies, lost that Probe there. No wall in. It's got that force field. This prism attack from Pezz actually looks like it might have some gumption here. I'm actually kind of lacking it. Probe does have those shield batteries finishing up though, and that is a big problem for Pezz. You got to crack this line. Getting rid of one of these gateways means less production with Probe though.
This is a lot of damage from Pezz coming out. That one force field is it. He doesn't have anything else to buy him some time or segment off that army after this. And he's having to pull probes. He's going to lose a fair few workers in this attack. His Robo just finished. If he can get an Immortal out, he might be okay, but he does not have a lot of money to work with.
Great attack from Pezz so far. Probe returning fire here with double Oracle. Getting a lot of probe kills.
Okay.
Oh, baby. And even some Stalkers as well. Oh, say it ain't so. I mean, Probe does not have much static defense left here, Steph, so while he did make a couple more gateways, both those Stalkers got killed, by the way. Oracle is going ham in the main. Probe just needs to hold on, but he's down 10 army supply. It seems tough.
He is. Even if he kills all of Pezz's workers, he may not be able to finish off this army. The Oracles aren't going to help too much against Stalkers unless they're in small numbers, so he's struggling. He's doing what he can. All of his probes are basically gone. That Immortal's going to be so important.
Oh, if he gets that pylon, depowers everything here from Probe except for one gateway. The Immortal pops out. That's massive for Probe. Oh, Probe can actually win this now.
Yeah, he's going to have to micro well. That Adept drawing some fire. He's moving back to his shield batteries. That's going to help so much here.
Yeah.
Nice micro from Pezz,
so close, but I think that Probe might have it. He lost the Immortal. Uh-oh.
Shield batteries don't really have any energy to speak of now, and Probe has no money. Oh my goodness. What's happening?
No!
No, don't lose the oracle. Oh.
Oh man, this thing is balanced on the top of a needle here.
Yeah, well, his stalkers are looking a little healthier right now.
Yeah, the prism is such a big advantage for Pezz.
Probe also has 2 workers, so that helps because Pezz has 0.
Oh yeah. I mean, Probe will eventually have enough money to make another probe.
Yeah. I mean, he could go for a unit too if he really wanted, because he's got shield batteries. Pezz cannot make any more units at all.
He goes for the probes. And probes like, well, I only have 2 of them, so